Well, today we want to talk about the faith that is not religious, but we want to talk about true faith. And actually, this month is our month. Is the month of faith. We are talking about faith, and we want to come back to the original faith, the faith that Jesus used to do all that he did on earth. And Jesus knew about how faith works, and that is why he was able to do all that he did. And most people who are in this dimension, those who are enlightened, those who have reached the summit of wisdom and know how this earth works, they all know about faith. And they know that it's only when we are able to understand faith that we also can do what Jesus did. Because Jesus himself said, the work that I have done and I am doing, you too you can do. You too you can do means there is something that we need to know and understand in order to do the work that Jesus has done. If we don't know that, if we don't understand that, we cannot do what he did. That is why I believe here at One Heart Community, One Heart Church, One Heart Fellowship, I believe that we all have to truly understand faith, how to walk in faith. We are not talking about religious faith that sometimes works and sometimes doesn't work. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't work. We are talking about faith that is like a principle that is always working, regardless of where you are, regardless of the skin color that you have, regardless of whatever you believe in. If you know what is true faith and how it works, it will always work for you. There are few reasons why many people are no longer in faith. There are many people today on earth who cannot walk in faith anymore. They just cannot. They think it's impossible. They just think it's impossible to walk in faith. Let's evaluate some of these reasons why today it seems impossible for people to walk in faith. First thing, some people think that faith is given only to some people. Okay, some people, I believe you have heard this. You know, sometimes people say things like, wow, brother, you have faith. Oh, I don't have the faith that you have. And some people even sometimes say things like, oh, you can do that because you have faith that I do not have. Even people have gone far and say, Jesus is the only one who can do that. We cannot do it. What a lie, what a deception. People have said things like, oh, only those who are enlightened can do what they are doing, and we today we cannot do it. Which means people think that those who can walk in faith are different from us, which is not true. It's absolutely not true. If one human being on this earth can walk in faith, it's a proof that all humans can walk in faith. If Jesus could walk in faith and do what he did, it's a proof to all of us that we too can do it. So let's set aside this erroneous thought that only some people can do it, only some people have faith, because it's not true. The same faith that was in Jesus today is in us. If we truly understand what is faith, if we truly know the meaning of faith, the same faith that was in him is in us today. So we need to learn and understand how to put that faith to work. In the book of Romans chapter 12, verse 3, it says, for I say, through the grace given unto me, to every man that is among you, not to think of himself more highly than he ought to think, but to think soberly, according as God has dealt to every man the measure of faith. God has given to every man a measure of faith. Which means there is no human on this planet who will say, I don't have faith. It's impossible. It's absolutely impossible. If we say something like that, and we believe that, we are saying that God is not fair. We are saying that God is not fair, which means we are saying that God has given faith to some people and God has not given faith to others. We are saying that God is blessing some people and God chose not to bless others. That's not true. You see, which means thinking that faith is given only to some people comes from our human concepts about faith. It's not true. It's not true. We all have faith. A measure of faith is given to all of us. And that measure of faith is in the heart of every human, every man on this planet. We all have the seed of faith. And we only need to know how to cultivate that seed, how to put that seed to work. We just have to try and know how it works. Otherwise, we will sit there and say things like, you know, that's Jesus. I'm different from Jesus. Jesus can do it because he is the Son of God and we are not. What a lie! What a lie! The Bible says that Jesus came in the form of a human just like you and I. And what the Bible means by the conception of the virgin is an esoteric term. That means something that we cannot go into here now. But I'm telling you that Jesus had a father, and his father was Joseph. We are aware of the truth that Mary was the mother of Jesus, but Jesus had a father. The birth of the virgin is an esoteric term. Esoteric term means it's something that has a spiritual meaning. And it's only those who have gone far in the seeking of the kingdom, those who have gone far in the research and the learning of the mysteries of the gospel, they are the one who know what it means, the birth of the virgin. They are the only one who know it. If you want to know about it, join us at One Heart Fellowship at the Work Loft near Saladen BTS station. We are there every Sunday. Join us there and you will know more about the birth of the virgin. Because this mentality that people have had, thinking that only Jesus can do that, we cannot do it, is not true. It's a deception. Let's continue now with the second reason that prevents people from walking in faith. Many have thought that the days of faith are over, and we have to do all based on our census report now. Well, we agree and we know that that's where we are now. Many people in the world today think that the days of Elijah are over. The days of Moses are over. The days of Jesus are over. The days of Paul, Peter, John are over. People today just cannot reconcile faith with the time we are in today. Why? Because we have become sensual people. Sensual means we have become people who are driven by the five senses. If we can see, if we can touch, if we can feel, if we can hear, we just can't believe. Didn't Jesus say, when I'm coming back for the second time, will I see faith on earth? Well, for those who have knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, we know we are in the time of the second coming of Jesus. Because the second coming of Jesus has nothing to do with the bodily coming of Jesus. The second coming of Jesus has all to do with the Christ consciousness, which is rising in the heart of men now. Because when Jesus said, I'm coming back, he was not talking about his body named Jesus. He was talking about the consciousness that was in that body, which is the Christ consciousness. And Jesus said, when the Christ consciousness time comes, will people have faith to believe it? That's what we are experiencing on earth today. People choose not to walk in faith. Why? Because they are looking at what is happening in the world and they just can't believe that faith can change it. So they are trying everything with their five senses, human power, thinking they can change it. My brother and sister, I can tell you right away that our five senses cannot do. 2 Corinthians 13:5 says, Examine yourselves to see whether you are in